yeah, yeah. Well, my mom was in the hospital for a few days, and
Hmm.
this uncle was left out of his house, so I had to go take him to Guanajuato to the tribunal, and oh, it was a long day yesterday. Then I had to go to Irapuato to
Hmm.
pick up my clothes because I rented an apartment in Leon too, so I have a place to stay in Leon and in Irapuato. So it was
Oh,
very
okay.
busy, a long day yesterday, but it was rewarding. It was good at the end.
Well, teacher, perfect.
A lot
Where are
of
you
it.
renting? In what zone of Leon?
It's in the north of Leon. It's called El Rosario. It's close to Plaza Cibeles, not Cibeles. What's the name of this plaza? Plaza Mayor.
Mayor?
Not far from Plaza Mayor. It's
Mm.
called El Rosario. Yeah, it's okay. It's about okay.
It's like a cluster?
Yeah, it's a cluster. It's not totally closed, but it's considered a cluster because um, you enter the zone, the colony, and it is basically detached from other part of the city. Although there is a way out and way in without any gates or any
Mm.
fences or nothing. So it's not totally enclosed, but it's nice and it's more or less private and secure. There is a park. It's very nice, nice area.
Great.
Mm.
Yeah, and a part is near from uh, Plaza Mayor and all stuff, so there are things near to do.
Yeah, exactly. And I have a way out to Aguascalientes when I need to go. So it's going to be
Mm.
like a transition point on my way to Aguascalientes, then back to Irapuato, and so on. So it's, it's a nice place. I'm starting to refurbish it, and I'm very happy there. You know.
That's great,
Yeah. How
teacher.
about you? How was your weekend, Nikki?
My weekend was good, teacher. Actually, this weekend I just went to the cinema, and and I was here. I was here in the house, but everything okay, teacher. Thank you.
Very nice. Did you watch a movie? What movie did you watch?
Yeah. I don't know exactly the name in English. Let me search it. Um, in English, it's called mm, The Holdovers.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Is that
think
a
that it's nominated to the Oscars this year. It's one of the movies nominated to the Oscar.
very nice. Very
Yeah,
nice.
it's a good movie. I recommend you that movie.
Who is the main character, the protagonist or the star?
The actor
Yes, the main actor.
is Paul Giamatti. It's called Paul Giamatti. To be honest, I have seen this actor in two or three movies, but uh, the character that he plays in the movie is a teacher, and it's like a strict teacher. And the movie talks about that it's like a prestige school in the United States, and where obviously uh, it's like a school where the students live there, they eat there, they sleep there, and just in vacations, yeah, they go again to visit their families. And there's a group like 5 or 6 people who, for one reason or another, they couldn't go to see their parents, and he's the person uh, who is like taking care of them. So the story starts from there, and it is funny because the the character it is so funny. It's like a person who is so smart, but then he ignores some things because it is difficult to him to understand young people, and it is funny. It is funny. I recommend the movie.
Thank you very much. I'm gonna go watch it. What's the name of it in Spanish? What do they call it in Spanish? Because the
Los que
translation
se
sometimes is
quedan.
not the same.
Los que se quedan.
Los que se quedan. Okay, okay. I think I'm gonna go watch it. Thank you, Mickey. Thank you. I think I'm
Yes.
gonna go watch it. Sometimes they make this type of movies where they are emotionally strong, right? They make you feel
Yeah.
intense, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And today I go to the cinema to see other called Vidas Pasadas. I think that is nominated to the Oscar. I love go to the cinema.
You do, huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they summarized great stories. Actually, I was thinking about a great story that was written a long time ago, but for to this day is very actual, even to this day, because it talks about very important things, which are, for example, honor, justice, prejudice, love, friendship. Probably you have seen it. The name of the plot is actually a play written by Shakespeare called The Merchant of Venice. I don't know if you have seen it or you
The
have
Merchant of Venice.
heard The
There's a
Merchant.
movie too, right?
I think there is. I think
Yeah,
there is
with
a movie.
Al Pacino, I think so.
Is that true?
I
Uh,
don't remember. I think more or less that Al Pacino acts in that movie, but I'm not sure. Let me.
could be. Yeah, it's a great play by Shakespeare. It's very old. The Merchant of Venice. And
Yeah, Al Pacino acts in the movie.
oh,
Yeah, I
really?
think that I saw it in the TV uh, one long time ago, but yeah, I saw it. I don't remember exactly all the all the plot, but yeah, I've
Okay.
seen that.
It's a great story that talks about many important issues. One of them, obviously, is justice, right? Let's take a quick
Mhm.
look at the summary. I found a summary here. Let's take a quick look and comment what you think about it because it's intriguing what how two similar people can think so differently. All right?
Yes, sure.
Okay.
Um, the play begins with Antonio, a wealthy merchant in Venice, expressing his sadness without any apparent reason. His friend, Bassanio, approaches him and explains that he needs financial assistance to court a wealthy heiress named Portia. Antonio, despite being cash-strapped at the moment, agrees to borrow money on Bassanio's behalf.
Right. So Antonio's gonna take money, right? Because he wants to conquer, he wants to court Portia.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But you need money for that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But flowers, chocolates. Okay. Then there is the second paragraph. Let's read it, Mickey, please.
Shylock's bond. Antonio seeks a loan from Shylock, a Jewish moneylender. Shylock agrees but proposes a peculiar bond. If Antonio fails to repay the loan within 3 months, Shylock will be entitled to a pound of Antonio's flesh.
Yeah, yeah. If he doesn't pay the loan, he will have the right to cut a piece of his loan, of his flesh, can be any part of the body, right? This is very peculiar and very unusual.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. Uh, what do you think of those deals, Mickey, in which the moneylender puts a very high stake on the loan, a very high interest or a very
Mm-hmm.
high penalty like this one? Banks do that, right? You can lose your house if you don't pay the loan, the mortgage. What do you think of those agreements? Why are they designed that way?
Mm, well, yeah. Obviously, I would say that it's not it's not ethical because at the end, uh, in occasions, people don't have enough knowledge to understand how interest works and how probably the money that they are uh, taking will be impossible to pay in the future. And but of course, that's why it's important to have correct analysis and this type of decisions is not a decision that you need to take instantly. It's a decision that you need to analyze and see if you can cover the interest that they are requesting. I think so, but of course it's not ethical. But all the banks and people who works in loaning money do it in that way. So yeah,
Yeah, well, however, the people who borrow the money have the right to say no, right? However, they don't say no also. So,
yeah.
do you think they are partly responsible as well? I ask for money, and the bank says to me, "Yeah, but I'm going to charge you 10% monthly." And I say, "Well, okay." And I say, "Yes." I could say no. I go to another lender.
Hmm.
What do you think of that?
Yeah, of course. As I mentioned, I think that it's a decision that you need to first of all analyze, and if it's something that you can pay, for example, if you need money instantly and there is the interest of 10%, but you can at the end of the month you're gonna receive the money, well, you can do that effort. But if not is in your possibilities, well, you can see other, you can search other people, or yeah, take. I don't consider that in this type of decisions we need to take risks because we don't know how the interest works in occasions, and it could be a decision that could affect us for the rest of our lives.
Yeah, that's true. It can affect us for the rest of our lives. Sometimes people lose their houses, right?
Yeah, everything.
I think, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, well, let's see what happens in this story. Maybe you are starting to remember a little bit too.
Mhm.
Let's see.
Bassani and Portia. Bassani successfully courts Portia by choosing the correct casket from three options. They marry, but their happiness is overshadowed by Antonio's predicament.
Yeah, you remember the predicament, right?
Not really sure.
Well, he borrowed money, right? He
Mhm.
doesn't have much money, but he loans money. Uh, he borrows money from the Jewish guy from Shylock to lend it to Bassanio,
Yeah, yeah.
right? So then, but he doesn't pay the loan, so he's in problems now. He's gonna be in
Mhm.
problems. Here is the here's the next paragraph, and let's see what happens. Antonio's trial.
Antonius trial. Antonius failed to repay the loan, and Shylock demands his pound of flesh. A trial ensues, and Portia, disguised as a legal expert, argues on behalf of Antonio. She cleverly interprets the bond, finding a loophole that saves Antonio's life but imposes severe penalties on Shylock. Mm.
Yeah, she becomes the judge in disguise, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and let's see the next one. There are two people come into a scene. Which are these people? Jessica and Lorenzo.
Meanwhile, Shylock's daughter Jessica elopes with Lorenzo, a Christian. This adds to Shylock's grief and isolation.
Yeah, so this increases his sadness and his problems. Bless you.
Thank you.
And yeah, so here is the resolution at the end. How the bless you. How
Thank you.
the how the play by Shakespeare concludes.
Resolution. The play concludes with the characters returning to Belmont, where Portia and Bassanio reconcile after a misunderstanding. Additionally, Antonio learns that his ships, previously thought lost at sea, have returned safely, restoring his wealth.
Yeah, because apparently Antonio had lost all his fortune because the ships had wrecked in the sea,
Mhm.
but actually they weren't, and they have returned safely. And they gave a give penalty to Shylock, who wanted to cut. They were able to pay him the loan eventually, but he said, "No, I want his flesh," and he tried and tried.
Mhm.
And then I don't know if you remember, but the judge in this
Mhm.
case, Portia, which was the legal expert, said, "Okay, but if you're a Jewish, you cannot drop blood in Christian soil. So yeah,
Mhm.
cut his flesh. But if you make a drop of blood falling
Mhm.
in the soil of Christian soil, you will be executed." So that
Mhm.
was the loophole. That is the loophole is falla, the
Mhm.
contract. There was a there was a failure in the contract, right? Shylock wanted to cut the flesh
Yeah.
from Antonio, but if he did that, he would have to drop blood from Antonio on the floor, but the floor was Christian, so you cannot make a Christian bleed in Christian soil. So
Mhm.
that's why Shylock repented and finally accepted the payback of the money, not the flesh. Yeah, yeah. was really, really interesting. So, what's first of all? Do you remember what nationality was Shylock?
Not sure.
He was Jew. He was Jewish.
Nationality or religion?
No, both nationality and religion.
Jewish?
Jewish, yes, 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 yes. He was Jew.
Mm, I don't know that
Shylock.
Jewish is like nationality too.
Yeah, people from Israel.
Ah, yeah, yeah, I understand now.
Yeah. So they were, for example, if you're from Israel, you're Jewish by nationality. Actually, you're Israeli, and Jewish is by it's a complex topic by religion, by lineage. If your lineage is Jewish, you come from the Ashkenazis, or there are varieties of Jewish descendants. It's a very intriguing topic because you can be religious, can be nationality, and can be blood or lineage.
mm,
And they are
I didn't
very,
know that.
very powerful. And people say that they have mixtures, even that Latin people in Latin America, have mixtures of Jewish people. They say that we have some blood, a little blood of Jewish people. What do you think of that?
Uh, I don't know. To be honest, I'm not pretty informed about like the different, how can I say, like lineage that we have here in Latin America. But um, but yeah, probably. I don't know. I know that, for example, when was the World War II, there were Jewish people who emigrate to Mexico and other parts. So I don't know. Probably in the past was something like similar, but I don't know.
Yeah. Well, this movie more or less portrays the ideas that, for example, that Jewish people give a lot of value to money. That is probably a prejudice,
Mm-hmm.
but may be partly true, right? For example, we have here first of all we have the motivation of Antonio to borrow money from Shylock. What is it? What is the motivation of Antonio to borrow money from Shylock? Why does he want to borrow money from him?
mm, he wanted money because um,
I think his friend Basario was going to get married, right?
yeah, yeah, Basaria.
And he wanted to help his friend.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that was the reason. Uh, and he wants to actually Portia is a very wealthy heiress or lady that's going to become very rich, and Antonio wants to repay the loan because he has lots of ships and he's very wealthy. He's a merchant, but his ships sink in high sea. The ships sink, so that is an apparent tragedy, which eventually turns to be false. He recovered his ships, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the next question is, how is Shylock? How is his character? Do you remember Ebenezer Scrooge,
Yeah,
the movie?
something like him. Yeah. Well, Sherlock was well, first of all, was Jewish. Uh, and at least here in the summary, it looks like a complex person.
Right.
um, and I would say controversial too because the the how can I say, like the what's this word, the credit or the that he wanted in case that the person couldn't pay the loan. It's a little bit controversial.
Ah, yeah, the guarantee.
The guarantee, yeah, the guarantee.
Guarantee. Yeah, that's true. It's controversial, highly controversial. He says a piece of his flesh.
Hmm.
It's very unusual, right? The banks, what the banks say, well, if you don't pay the loan, it goes into foreclosure, 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 and then which is ejecución or foreclosure, and then you lose the house. Right? If I ask for money from the bank and I don't pay it, they put the house in foreclosure, which is ejecución, and I lose my house.
Yeah.
An embargo, right? Foreclosure. So asking for a piece of flesh is too much, right?
Yeah, it's too much.
Then what about the character of Portia? What what qualities does she possess? Why is so particular in this movie or in this play by Shakespeare, The Merchant of Venice? How is the character of Portia?
Well, she is how to say like wealthy Harris, wealthy,
Harris, yes. Wendy Harris, yes.
and at least here in the summary, it looks like a person who is intelligent, and I suppose that beauty too.
Yeah,
For the
she's
one,
beautiful
so
as well.
she
And
could
she
be
uses
like
a,
the witch in disguise.
yeah, she uses a disguise. Disguise is this phrase, right?
Mm-hmm.
She uses a disguise. She conceals herself, disfraza, as a judge or legal expert. That is another topic, the camouflage. Um, why do people want to disguise themselves or conceal themselves? Conceal is the same as disguise. That's very common. Disguise or appear as someone else. Why do you want to? Why do people want to deceive others by appearing to be someone else or something else? This is very common.
Yeah.
I pretend to be something, I pretend to have something, I pretend to do something which I don't do. Why do people do this? That's sometimes not very common, could be common.
I think that because people wants to, in a way, show off or pretend something that they don't, just to be part of something. I think
Do
that,
you
for
think?
example,
Yeah, Mickey, go. I'm sorry, continue.
yeah, no, don't worry. Yeah, I think that, for example, at least uh, what I see in the people of my age is normally they want to pretend with the cell phone that they use or the car that they drive, the clothes that they're wearing, and in occasions I know that, for example, one friend bought the last iPhone, but he's paying, I think that uh, I don't remember, but we're like 48 months, and it's like, oh my god, why are you paying something that in 48 months the value will be the half that the price that you're paying,
Jeez.
you know? And just to be part or pretend to be part of a try to be part of a group. I think that in occasions is that way we pretend or appear something that we don't know, that we don't.
Yeah, and that is a common mistake. Well, at least it's a mistake that I myself was guilty of. For example, I bought a piece of land in 1999 when I came back from the US.
Mm-hmm.
We bought a piece of land in Lomas del Pedregal, and it was a 400 meter square meter tract of land, 400 square meter uh, tract of land. And then we said, well, let's build a house. And we thought it was going to be easy. It was extremely difficult. and we wanted to, yeah, we wanted to show off, like say, look, I can build a mansion, I can build a big house. And yeah, we did it, but it took us 15 years, 12 to 15 years, right, to complete it. It was crazy. And then across myself, there was a lady, an Italian lady by the name of Angelina, smart,
Mhm.
smart lady, 94 years old. And she says, well, she says, friendly, but sincerely, she says, Mexicans are very pretentious. They struggle to have certain amount of money, and they always spend more than they can acquire. In other words, you make
Yeah.
10 pesos, you spend 12.
Mhm.
And she was right. Maybe the comment was not taken very kindly, but I said, well, that's true. And then thinking back, I said, I should have made just a small house with a big garden and that's it. But we want to pretend that where did your friends, where do they have this need to show off that you have seen, Mickey?
Mm, well, probably it's my perception, but at the end, I think that there always is like a competition. Probably not in a bad way, but yeah, it's like, well, now I bought this new cell phone, or now I'm driving this. Um, Now I went to this country, or I visit this or that. I don't know. I think that mm, because at the end, I don't know if all the cultures, but at least I consider that Mexican culture. Uh, Normally, we want to show off in so many. How can I say it? In so many aspects, I think so. And just to have like the feeling of how I say superiority. I think so.
Could be, right? Or the feeling of success that you were able to achieve
Success.
something. Yeah. Well, in this case, Portia disguises herself. She conceals herself as a judge, and she pretends to be a judge, but she's really not. But she's very smart. And the question then is, why does she disguise herself as a legal expert? Who does she want to save?
Mm, she want to save Antonio.
Antonio during the trial, right?
Yeah.
During the trial. Now, these trials, there have been very famous trials in life. Famous trials. Trials. There have been very, very famous trials in history. Maybe a couple of trials that you remember, Mickey, that have been very, very famous.
Mm, Tryouts.
Yeah, many, many trials.
Mm,
Well, the first one that was the trial of Socrates.
mm, yeah.
He was charged for corrupting the youth of Athens, and he was uh, actually he was executed. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember read something like that. Yeah, well, there are so many, so many trials. Um, I don't know. For example, um, like 3 or 4 months ago, I saw a documentary Netflix that talks about the most famous murders in the United States, and well, there are so many trials there too. You can see it in Netflix, and one of them could be how do you say Teddy Bundy. Teddy. It was like in the 70s in United States, or the last one that I saw. Let me search the name
Yes.
to confirm. Uh, um, mm, mm. Jeffrey Dahmer, for example. I think that Netflix did a, bio series of this person, and at the end of the series, it shows the trial at the end. I think that he was executed too.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, yeah, but there are so many trials.
Another famous trial, I don't know if you remember, Joan of Arc, which was a French military leader.
John,
Joan of Arc.
I don't remember. How was?
Juana de Arco, well, she was a French military leader that disguised herself as a man, but was actually a woman. Here is the result of her trial. You want to maybe read it, please, Mickey?
Yeah, the trial of Joan of Arc, 1431. Joan of Arc, a French military leader and martyr, was tried and convicted of heresy by an ecclesiastical court and subsequently executed.
Yeah, Juana de Arco, very, very famous.
No, that's pa. I didn't know about this case. So it was she was executed, but she pretended that she was a man, or how
No,
was?
no, no. She was a military leader. She was part of I think, the Crusades, and
Mm-hmm.
she was a leader. She was leading armies, but she was wearing the outfit of a man.
Oh,
Yeah, because in the past, women could not be military leaders. So if it was a woman, she couldn't be part of the military. It was forbidden. So she took the arms pretending to be a man when she was in reality a woman. And she was captured and convicted of heresy and then executed, Joan of Arc. But you know the name of Juana de Arco, right? Very
yeah,
famous.
yeah. I have heard that name. Wow.
Yeah, yeah, her life is very interesting. And obviously, we have the Nuremberg trials that were classic. Let's take a look at them, Mickey. Let's see what it says and what you think.
Yeah, the Nuremberg trials, right?
Yes, please.
Was in the World War II.
Yes.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that one time I read about it. Let me search it. Nuremberg is in Germany.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, I found here that the Nuremberg trials were a series of military tribunals held after World War II to prosecute prominent leaders of Nazi Germany for war crimes. Oh, yeah. Crimes against peace and crimes against humanity. The trial took place in the city of Nuremberg, Germany, from November 29 in 1945 to October 1st in 1946. The primary trial, known as the International Military Tribunal (IMT), focused on the major war criminals of the Third Reich. Reich. Yeah, I think that there's a video, right, of
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that one time I saw the part of the video. Hmm.
Lots of information about the Nuremberg trials. And they were dramatic in the sense that most of them were convicted. I think nobody was acquitted. I don't know if anyone was acquitted, but I think nobody was acquitted. Everyone was convicted. Let's see if anyone was acquitted. I'm not sure. Was anyone acquitted in the Nuremberg trials? I don't think anyone. Some individuals were acquitted in the Nuremberg trials. Out of 24 major Nazi leaders, uh, three were acquitted. Hans Fritzsche. Okay, well, this is interesting because I didn't know about this. Let's read about the three people out of 24 that were acquitted. Mickey, please. Here is a list of people that were acquitted during the Nuremberg trials, which I didn't know about that. Let's see. Uh,
Uh, uh, uh,
Here.
uh, yeah. Hans Fritzsche, he was a high-ranking official in the Nazi propaganda ministry. Fritzsche was acquitted of crimes against peace, war crimes, and crimes against humanity.
I didn't know that.
No, me
Then
neither.
France.
Franz von Papen, a German politician and diplomat. Von Papen served as a vice chancellor under Adolf Hitler. He was acquitted of crimes against peace and conspiracy to commit crimes against peace. The last
Okay.
one, Hjalmar, or how do you say it?
Yalmar.
J-
Yalmar.
Hjalmar Schacht,
Schacht.
Schacht, an economist and banker. Schacht served as the Minister of Economics under Hitler. He was acquitted of crimes against peace but was held in custody for a time after the trial and other charges.
Yeah. Well, three people were saved, rescued, or pardoned, right? They were not convicted. They were acquitted. The word is acquitted. 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 They were pardoned, these people. But the other ones were convicted. 21 were convicted.
Acquitted is when they pay to be, well, to liberate the charges, right?
No, acquitted is perdonado. Or
Mm,
convicted is convicto. Acquitted is the opposite. Liberado.
okay, okay, okay.
They
So
were
they don't
acquitted.
need to pay nothing, just they are
No,
free and that's all.
they were set free and they left. Yes, except the last one who was kept under custody for some time,
Mm,
like surveillance. But the other ones were convicted. Well, those were the major trials. And of course, a very famous trial that you are aware of, the trial of Nelson Mandela, remember?
yeah.
What can you find about that, Mickey, please? The trial of Nelson Mandela as one of the most famous trials in history.
Yeah, Nelson Mandela, the anti-apartheid activist and later president of South Africa, went through a trial known as the Rivonia trial. This trial was a significant event in the struggle against apartheid and for the liberation of South Africa. It took place between 1963 and 1964. Mandela and other prominent anti-apartheid activists were accused of sabotage and other charges.
Yeah. And he was kept in prison in captivity for 27 years, I think. Imagine to be in prison for 27 years. Yeah,
And
that's,
then convert you in the in the next president of the country.
yeah, exactly. He was made the next president of South Africa. Impressive. I think from these trials, he's the one who was, well, he was convicted and then he was liberated. He was released from prison. But at the time of the trial, he was convicted. Um, Obviously, O.J. Simpson, and the other one, which is more famous, well, more recent, is the trial of Saddam Hussein. Remember him?
Yeah, yeah. I don't remember exactly the trial, but yeah, I heard about
Saddam
him.
Hussein. Okay, let's read about it, please. Can you?
Yeah, the trial of Saddam Hussein in 2004. Saddam Hussein, the former president of Iraq, Iraq, I don't know how to say it.
Iraq. Iraq.
Iraq, yeah, was tried and sentenced to death for crimes against humanity committed during his regime. hmm
Yeah.
Saddam Hussein.
Actually, do you know about the Twin Towers, right?
Yeah,
You were too young, probably. You were what, 10 years old, maybe?
at
No.
the Twin Towers, no. Probably I had 10, but 10 months. It was in 2001, right?
Ah,
Or
no, no, that's
2010?
true. No, no, you were just born.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
2001,
you
right?
were 2001, I think.
Yeah, yeah, I born in 2001.
Okay, you were just born, newborn, a newborn baby then, huh? When was the demolition of the Twin Towers? 2001.
2001, yeah.
Yeah,
September.
September
hmm
11,
The 9/11.
which
Yeah,
was highly controversial too.
yeah, there are a lot of theories about it.
Yeah, and they blamed Saddam Hussein as the person who orchestrated this, and Bin Laden.
Bin Laden, yeah.
Actually, they put the blame on Bin Laden more than on Saddam Hussein, but then they invaded Iraq.
There was
Well,
a purpose behind, a big
yeah,
purpose behind. Yeah.
but there was no evidence, and there are lots of documentaries. Some of them have been taken down from internet, but some others still remain that conclude that was an internal coup d'état. In other words, that was an internal coup, uh,
hmm
was orchestrated by the same government of the U.S. I don't know what you think about that theory. If you have read it, if
Yeah. Yeah, I have read that theory. Well, to be honest, at least for me, and I'm not a person who who really believes in all these conspiracy theories, uh, but it makes sense to me, to be honest. Because I have seen videos and the way how the twin towers in that part explode, it looks like it looks like not too how can I say it? Well, it is difficult to believe that two planes cause all those explosions, and I think that the explosion starts from the how to say from the like from the ground, right? I remember I saw videos and I have read that theory, but um, it makes sense because well after that they invited um, well they caused the war and more selling of guns and all the stuff and the petrol and yeah, it makes sense at least for me.
it makes sense, right? Yeah, I fully agree with that theory too. But but it's highly controversial because they created such a huge propaganda to that about that. So it's really crazy. I fully support the theory, but of course, you repeat a thousand lies, you repeat a lie a thousand times, and it becomes a truth, right?
Mhm. Yeah, I don't know. That's why I don't like too much United States
They have
authorities.
great people. Yeah, politicians are are fishy to say the least, right? Politicians are fishy.
Yeah, yeah,
But
and when you see the movies and all the stories, obviously created by them, it's like they were the heroes and they saved and it's like well, that's too much.
yeah, that is true. That is true. They have, like any country, they have great people, great scientists, great sportsmen, great
hmm
artists,
Yeah.
and some social programs are really excellent for their own people. But yeah,
hmm
some politicians have absolutely no heart, no mercy, no nothing, right? So yeah, you find the best of the best and probably the worst of the worst.
Yeah.
And and well, many people coincide, share this point of view. And of course, you will. We shouldn't be. It's not fair to say that everyone is like that, right? Because there's like in
No,
Mexico,
no, of
you
course, yeah.
find great, fantastic people here in Mexico. You also find people who are extremely nice or polite or very decent, right? You find all
Yeah,
kinds of people.
as you said, some politicians,
Yeah,
some
that's true.
politicians.
That's true.
Yeah,
But
for
talking about
example,
yes,
yes,
Mickey, go ahead.
yeah, I remember one time that I was reading about uh, the bombs in Hiroshima. I think that at that moment Japan was almost like surrendered because
Yeah.
they didn't have the enough soldiers and army to continue, and the United States they don't care and they they launched the bombs. So it was like a way to show the power that they have, and it's like well, all the consequences that were after that was horrible. And just for the same reason, just to show power that United States is the best country
Yeah,
of the
that
moment.
was unnecessary. That was an abuse and too much exertion of power, which was unnecessary, not necessary.
Mhm.
That is true, Mickey. Very true. And however, about this topic of power, trials, this and that, I always come to the same conclusion. Many people will share, some people will disagree, but if there is a balance of power, there is
Mhm.
peace. That is my concept. And I watch documentaries about the wild, the jungles, tigers against lions, lions against zebras, zebras against whatever. And if there
Hmm.
is a of power, balance of power guarantees peace.
Yeah.
Yeah, if there is a very great disbalance of power, the stronger will always inevitably, unavoidably defeat the weaker.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Actually, there is a book written by Hermann Hesse called Demian, in which he says that Cain killed Abel not because he was bad, but because he was stronger. And Cain killed Adam, Adam, not because Cain, right?
Hmm.
That was his name. Was bad, but because he was stronger. Yeah, it's very bad to kill a brother, of course. The allegory is awful, but the concept that he didn't kill it because he was bad, but because he was stronger. If Adam had been stronger, he would have killed Cain, according to this book. Well, it's debatable. It's debatable, right? But the concept that the book talks about is about force, strength. If you want to survive, you need to be strong. That's the concept of the book. And it
Yeah.
destroys many cliches that we have. I mean, the idea of being good, having a good heart, to be polite, to be good, that's extremely nice and extremely good. But looking at society, looking at the world, that's a good question. What is better, to be good or to be strong? What is. I don't want to challenge the values of anyone, right? Bless you. What is better, to be good or to be strong? To powerful is equivalent.
To be powerful. Hmm. Well, I don't consider that there's one better than the other. I think that at the end there must exist a balance between them,
Yeah, a balance. Yeah,
because if we go to the different like extremes from one and the other, well, I think that both are wrong. I think so, because normally people who is so nice, people in occasions take advantage of them, and when people is so powerful, they take advantage of the other people. So I think that
yes.
there must exist a balance. Everything there must exist a balance.
There must be a balance. Yeah, that is very true. That is very true. And besides, there is not a conflict of being good and being strong, right? You can be good, which is also a very important conclusion. You can be good and strong. Don't you agree? They are not in conflict.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Actually, I'm reading a book. That's the last book that I'm reading is called the 48 Laws of Power.
Ah, okay, yes,
And yeah, in a way, they talks about this, that in occasion we must show the power, but we don't need to exceed of that. It's like there must be at the end a balance. I think so. I'm starting the book, so probably in the future I don't know what could say, but and now in the first part, that's what I'm understanding.
yeah, yeah. That's a great book. Who's the author? We were talking about him the other day. Remember?
Yeah, actually, I searched the book after the interview. Robert Greene, I don't remember
Robert
if
Greene.
Robert, but Greene.
Yeah,
It's
Robert Greene.
Robert Greene. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. How's the book?
it's great. I download in PDF and then I send it to my Kindle, and now I'm reading that there.
Ah, okay, okay, very
It's
nice.
great.
Yeah, it's a great book. You're reading it in English.
Yeah, in English.
Fantastic. Yeah, fantastic. It's a great, great, great habit to be reading in English all the time. That increases your vocabulary, your understanding, everything. It's great. It's like going to the gym, right? But for fun.
Yeah, exactly. Like 2 months ago, I finished the Never Split Difference book by Chris Voss. It was a good book too.
Ah, okay, yeah, yeah, that's a fantastic book as well. Well, you have read a good number of books now, Mickey, in English.
Yeah, all the books that I have in my Kindle are in English. Obviously, the books that I bought here in Mix Up or in the libraries, I tried to search in English, but actually there are not so many. So the the PDFs that I download to my Kindle all are in English, and the rest obviously I have in Spanish too. But yeah, I try to read the most amount in English.
Yeah, there's so many great books. You already read Outliers, right? By Malcolm Gladwell.
Outliers. I think that I just read the. I saw a video about this book, but I haven't read it.
Oh, okay.
Malcolm Gladwell.
Gladwell.
Yeah.
It's a great book. Really good book. It talks, we have read some parts of it during the classes,
Yeah, yeah, I remember.
chapters of
The
it.
Extreme of
It's really
Success.
good. Outliers. Yes. That's a great book written by Gladwell. Other great books. Well, you already read, I think, in Spanish and in English, right? The The Art of Making Friends by Dale Carnegie.
Yeah. The Art of Making Friends and Influence People.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. Yeah,
Yeah.
The Art of Making Friends and Influence People. That's another great book. There are great books. The one that you recommended was just amazing. You were the one who suggested this book. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, the book of Ryan Holiday.
yeah, fantastic. The obstacle is the way, right?
Absolutely the way. Yeah.
That was a great book. The obstacle is the way. To this day, it's one of my favorite books. I read it over and over. Well, not all of it, but parts of the book again and again. And it's amazing how true this book is, right? What
Yeah.
propels you, what impulses you, what gives you the impulse, the stamina, the courage to do things sometimes is the challenge itself.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Do you recommend read different books at the same time? Obviously, not like you finish reading one and then you go to the next. So, but for example, I don't know. Now I'm doing that. I read the first thing that I do is reading here in my Kindle. But then I have other books that I have bought and that I haven't read yet. So I don't know if you think that it's good to read one and the other, for example, in the night or in another moment of the day. I don't know if you think that you get the same amount of how can I say it, like knowledge, or I don't know what could be the word. I don't know if it's good to mix two books, for example.
Well, it is possible, but what is really important is that you finish the books and that you have the appropriate frame of mind during the reading of each of the books. For
Hmm.
instance, I used to like reading at night because I
Hmm.
was very quiet, I was very relaxed, and I absorbed most of the information immediately. Sometimes I dreamt about what I read,
Hmm.
and that, yeah, thought about what I had read, and it was really good for me reading at night.
Reading
But
at night.
during the day, I read my class books, math,
Because.
chemistry. So you really are actually used to reading 3 or 4 books during the day on different
Hmm.
topics. So you already have that custom from your classes at university or college or school, right? But what is important is that your frame of mind is akin or in harmony with what you're
Hmm.
going to do. Right? If you are like in a very pacific or peaceful way state frame of mind, then
Hmm.
you can read your I don't want to say poems, but an easy read.
Yeah.
But if you are like very curious, you have this appetite for the apex of the story, then
Hmm.
well, you read more intense books. But yeah, depending on the weight of mind. But I think it is possible. What is truly crucial is that you finish the books. That's what really
Finished.
matters. Yeah, yeah, you need to finish the books because then you digest the whole thing, right? You get to the conclusion and then you can analyze it, digest it. You can say, okay, the
Yeah.
conclusion was this.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. For example, do you normally read the whole books, or you read like just some chapters? For example, you see the index and then the chapter that is like more appealing to you, you read in that moment, and then you left the book, or you continue, or you have like an order when you read the books.
I normally read the books in order, and
Mm.
I almost always finish the books. Yes, there have been some great books that I haven't finished. For example, I started to read The War and Peace by Tolstoy, and I never
Mhm.
finished it. It was during a stage in my life when I was reading other things, and that look seemed to be a bit dense. I didn't finish that book. But there have been other books like, well, this book by John Steinbeck, East of Eden.
Mhm.
That was a fantastic book. It was like 700 pages,
Yeah.
more or less 700 pages. But I finished the book. It was a fantastic book by John Steinbeck. He was a Nobel Prize of Literature, John
Stenbeck.
Steinbeck.
Mhm.
Another book written by him is The Grapes of Wrath. I also finished that book, The Grapes of Wrath, Las Uvas de la Ira. That is a easy read, but the beginning is difficult because they speak like with American slang. Like if you listen to people say chale manito and see, and all the book is like that with the what they call calo in Spanish,
Mhm.
which is
Mhm.
nothing wrong, but, they call it like bro, hey bro, and they
Mhm.
never say brother. They always say bro and bro this and
Right.
bro that. So they speak with this jargon, but the
Mhm.
book
Yeah,
is
yeah.
brutal, very, very dramatic, very intense. I love the book. Just
The
need to
Grace of
read
Wrath.
these two. The Grapes of Wrath.
Mm.
Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck. So, Las Uvas de la Ira is a fantastic book. How people who migrate go with a dream to another city, in this case to another place, which is California, looking
Mhm.
for the American dream, and
Mhm.
they suffer all types of struggles. But read the book if you have the time, if you can. It's a fantastic book, but it's intense. It causes you a mix of feelings, and they just say, "Geez, how can this happen?" And
Mhm.
it's a nice book. You will enjoy
It's a
it.
novel, right?
Excuse me. It's a
It's a
novel.
novel. It's a novel.
Novel by John Steinbeck. Yes,
Mm.
The Grapes of Wrath.
I'm gonna read it.
Yeah, another great book, which is also it's about the Spanish Civil War, is For Whom the bell tolls.
For
This is from
whom?
Hemingway, Ernest Hemingway. Ernest Hemingway.
For whom?
Yeah, this is also a strong book. It's also by this great American writer, two great American writers actually,
Mhm.
Hemingway and Steinbeck. Great. Well,
That's a novel too. For
it's a
whom?
novel too.
Mm.
It's about the Civil War, an American guy that takes part in the Civil War in Spain with
Mhm.
the Franco War. Uh, it's worth reading. It's really worth reading because it gives you the idea of heroism, but then the very last minute, well, you need to read it. It's a great novel. Two great novels. Actually, my mom told me when I was a kid to read this book when I was an adolescent, and they had the book in Spanish, and I never read it until recently.
Mhm.
Uh, Recently, I'm saying 10 years ago,
Mhm.
15 years ago, I read the book and it was amazing, really amazing. But also a strong book. I mean, you need to be ready to shed some tears. Right? Oh, it's a great book. A bit sad at the end, but it's a great book. You would enjoy it. They made a novel of these two.
Yeah, that's something that I found. There's a movie too.
Yeah, yeah. They made movies from the greatest books that have been written. Actually, they also made a movie from this East of Eden with
Mhm.
James Dean.
Ah, James Dean,
Yeah, it's an old movie, but the book is just great.
1955.
Yeah, imagine, imagine.
Why do you think that your mom gave you that book in that moment? Now that when you read it, when you finish it.
That's a good question. I think because he talks about the value of perseverance. Never surrender to
Mm.
your dreams. If you have a dream, go after your dream, even if at the end you succeed or you don't succeed. That was the lesson. And now I understand it. Back then, I didn't understand it because I didn't read the book.
Yeah.
But now I understand what my mother wanted to give me when I was an adolescent, a youngster. I was in my 20s, maybe, or an adolescent, 15, 18, 20. I don't remember exactly. But she told me, oh, you need to read this book one day when you have an opportunity. I said, yeah, I'm going to read it one day. It took me 30 years to read it, but I read it.
For whom the bell tolls. The
Yeah.
value of perseverance.
Value perseverance, right?
Perseverance.
Follow your dreams,
I'm
never
gonna
give
read.
up, and the result is doesn't matter too much. But you have the pride, you have the pleasure on fighting for what you really want. And now I understand it. And it's not that I didn't have the opportunity to do that, right? She gave us these lessons from other examples and other ideas, but
Mhm.
never surrender to your dreams, never give up. That was really the lesson. And this book has many peculiarities, Mickey. You, I don't know. There's so many great things to read. It's like, what should I eat? Well, you should eat
Mhm.
uh,
Yeah,
uh,
absolutely.
chicken, fish, legumes, almonds, nuts, everything, right? So the
Yeah.
same with what should I read? Well, you should read as much as you can. But
Yeah, and I want to read something that normally I don't read. For example, normally I don't read like novels.
okay,
So now that you mentioned those novels, I'm interested to read it. So yeah, I would like to expand a little bit the things that normally I read because I read books about economics, about how to say development, but I would like to read other things too. And yeah, it's the last one and well, the three that you mentioned look so interesting.
yeah. If you were to start reading novels, which is a new genre for you, uh, maybe you can start reading famous novels like uh, the portrait of the picture. They also call the picture of Dorian Gray.
Great.
That's a
Hmm.
great one. That is one by Oscar Wilde. There is another one, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. That's a great novel too. Um, Other novels. Well, I love The Man Who Was Thursday.
The Man Who Was Thursday.
Thursday. This is from Chesterton. They are not too long.
Okay.
They are not too long, and then you get to understand the genre. An absolute favorite is all the novels by Hermann Hesse. But I need
Herman.
to confess something. This is the author, and all his novels are great. The Stephen Wolf, the Wolf of the Steppe, the Lobo Estepario. That's one of the books. But I read them in Spanish. These
Hmm.
books from Hermann Hesse, I read them in Spanish, and it was a very, uh, how can I say, a fantastic writing, very colorful, very flashy, with lots of fantastic words. But I don't know how complex he's going to be in English, much more in German. So
Yeah, of course.
I don't know what to say about his books in English because I never read anything from Hesse in English. The other ones I read them in English, and I can say Dorian Gray from a British from Oscar Wilde is a fantastic book I read in English too. But the books from the place from Hermann Hesse, I
Hmm.
don't know what to say because I never read them in English, only in Spanish, and they were amazing. But the language was very complex
Hmm.
from
Yeah,
this guy.
yeah,
Maybe
probably will
later,
be a
at a
little bit
later
difficult.
stage. Could be. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's easier to
I'm
understand,
gonna
but
search.
I cannot say because I never read it in Spanish, in English, only in Spanish.
Thank you, teacher. Yeah, I'm gonna search all those books and I'm gonna send it to my Kindle.
Okay, that'd be fantastic, Vicky.
Thank you, teacher.
Well, should we have another class tomorrow? Maybe
Yes, teacher. Tomorrow it's Wednesday. Yeah, it's
Wednesday.
perfect.
All
At
right.
9, it's okay for you, or will you let me know if there's something like?
Uh, 9. I think 9. Yeah, 9 because I'm gonna go to bed early tonight, so I think I'm gonna wake up early tomorrow.
Perfect, teacher. Well,
All right.
then see you tomorrow, teacher. Thank you for your
Okay,
time.
Mickey. Take care. Have a good
Take
night.
care.
Have a good day. Actually, take care.
You
Bye
too,
bye.
teacher.
See you.
Thank you very
Thanks a lot.
much.